Hey, what's going on everybody out there? I'm Jakejames Lugo and welcome to Gamers with Gains. Now let me talk about my experience with Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. At the current moment in time that I'm recording this vlog, I had a chance to actually play Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 during the closed beta of the game. It's going to open up to the general public very, very soon. It's going to be considered an open beta in just like a couple days from the time I'm making this vlog. But I've had some significant amount of time playing through it and streaming it on Twitch TV. There'll be a link in the description box to an actual portion of the archive that I did during my stream when I was on Twitch playing the game for everybody on there. So overall, how do I feel about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2? Well, to be completely honest with you guys, I still think the game needs work. Granted, it's in a beta phase right now, and there's still some stuff that will change right up to the final release of the game. But there's still some fundamental things that I feel need to be adjusted, need to be kind of improved upon in order to make Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 a significant step up over its predecessor. There are little things that have been improved since the first game, including the inclusion of the map, being done in real time, the inclusion of vehicles, and the ability to fly in the central hub. Even though currently with my character in the beta, I didn't get a chance to really fly around like that. I don't even know if it's open in the beta itself, but they did say that once you get the flying license, you'll be able to kind of travel around the actual map of the hub in the central Croton city in order to get to area. But for the most part, in my experience with the demo, I was using the actual kind of like capsule car, or like the little capsule like device that you get, the vehicle, in order to go from spot to spot. In inclusion, or at least in addition, with the little fast travel spots that are littered throughout the entirety of the city. Those are a significant improvement. Those I feel are very, very much appreciated. It allows me to go from place to place to place on the map without having to go through entire sections and just waste time like that. However, there are little things here and there, not only including with the map, but also in some of the design of the game in the city itself that I feel should be adjusted or should be improved upon because they'll make the experience a lot more better than what it is in the beta. For example, traveling from spot to spot with the fast travel, why isn't there a map that actually shows where you're going on there in relation to where your actual objectives are? You go to the menu when you go to the fast travel point and actually choose any one of the specific spots that you could teleport to, but there isn't a map that shows exactly where you're at, and once you actually go to a specific spot, you have to kind of like figure out where exactly the fast travel leads you to in order to get to your nearest objective, or again, if you're trying to find something specific. One of the other little things that I found a little bit annoying during my time with the beta was actually any sort of description of like where certain spots are. They outright tell you during the course of like the tutorial when you get those little messages that pop up, but in order to get information about the game, about specific spots or things related to the game in and out of battle or in and out of the actual city, you have to go to this little information kiosk with this little information capsule robot that explains everything to you. My question is, why isn't that available in the standard menu when you go to customize your character? I feel like that's something that should always be with you, and you don't necessarily need that in the map, or at least need to go to a specific spot in the map to find out that information. I feel like it'll be a little bit much more accessible, it'll be a little bit more easier, especially when I'm trying to figure out where I have to go in order to get new capsules, new skills, new equipment, new sections. It took me a little bit of time, believe it or not, even though the game outright tells you where to go, but like in the midst of doing everything there, it took me some time to figure out where to go for the parallel missions. It actually took me a little bit of time while I was figuring out everything else once I finished the story missions that are included in the beta. Now, some of the other big important things I need to note, which specifically about the gameplay outside of like the main hub area, because I know I'm complaining a little bit about that stuff. But let's talk about the actual fighting. Let's talk about the significant content that's part of the time patrol missions, which is like the main story content, and the parallel missions, which could be done offline or online with up to a couple people included in the game. One of the big things that I felt was a big problem with Xenoverse 1, which continues in Xenoverse 2, unfortunately, is the camera. The camera could sometimes be a real nuisance. When you're scouting for different stuff that's around you in the world or in the environment, you can't travel faster than what you normally could. It goes into like a first-person type of mode, as you can look around for specific things, other characters, hidden items, or anything of the sort. But you only travel at a snail's pace when you're scouted like that. Why isn't there a case where I could actually put on the scouter and be able to travel normally like I actually am able to without anything scanned, or if like I'm targeting something like that? I feel like that's a limitation that doesn't need to be there. Again, it makes things a little bit more accessible. Why can't I just put on the scouter and have like, kind of like a detective mode type of thing where it shows everything on the map while I'm trying to do different stuff? If you want to put a limitation even on fighting, even though I still think that would stupid, I can understand that. But again, traveling at a snail's pace, going from spot to spot, going in and out of the scouter constantly feels like it just doesn't need to be like that. It could be improved upon a little bit more more in order to make traveling, searching for stuff in environments a little bit better. Now, the fighting themselves with the camera could sometimes get caught in like different like, structures, different like cliffs, or even be like so up close to my face and so up close to my character, like at my back or on a limb when I'm trying to target or even just move around a specific area, that could become a real nuisance. Now, again, this isn't something that's easily remedied, and they still had that same problem back in the original Xenoverse game. But I feel like now that we're going to a sequel, and maybe even a third sequel down the line like that, we should be able to fix up problems like this. Now, with that being said, you could always just not target a specific thing and like move the camera around, but still there are those instances where there's so much action and so much things like happening on screen that I feel like maybe if the camera panned out and like, again, made it to a point where it doesn't get stuck in some of those objects or some of those like structures or environmental hazards and stuff, that it would make things a little bit easier during the course of a fight. One of the biggest problems I noticed this was during my fight in one of the Time Patrol missions where I was fighting two Uzurus, which was Nappa and Vegeta during the Saiyan saga. They both turned to giant apes. Now, normally in the story, Nappa doesn't turn to a giant ape like that. It was really just Vegeta. But now both of them turned into Uzurus, and I have to fight both of them at the same time. During this, when I'm actually trying to target one of them, not only do I have the other Uzuru, the other enemy, like coming and just like messing me up and like getting in front of the camera and stuff, but I also am like going crazy with the camera trying to lock onto specific body parts, and like, it'll be in like these weird angles where I can't move around, I have to untarget, I have to move around. It just becomes a real hassle. Now, during the fights like this, the regular standard fights, I would say, with the characters themselves, like Raditz, like Frieza, like any of like, the Garlic, not Garlic Jr., but like any of like Frieza's minions and stuff, the standard battles that you run into during the course of the missions, even in the parallel missions, they seem to be fine. I feel like sometimes the computer could be a little bit too much of a pushover. That could be just the case with the beta, but there are other times where I feel like the difficulty just ramps up, not because the challenge itself is difficult, but because a lot of the things aren't really fine-tuned as far as like being programmed right. Certain attacks that shouldn't be hitting you because there's some distance, all of a sudden their hitboxes allow them to hit you from far distances and do a lot of damage. At the same time, some of your attacks that should be hitting people aren't because they're easily dodged and stuff. These are little nitpicks here and there. However, during my big boss fights that I had with, again, the Uzurus, I felt like there was this, like, they have like this stamina meter where you have to just attack them a bunch of times to stagger them in order to deal real damage to them, like grab them by the tail and do stuff like that. I felt like it was just prolonged way too long. Like, you didn't need that extra stamina meter to kind of bring that down in order to deal damage like that. Why not just have a large health meter? I would have been totally cool with that. And I feel like there's little things here and there where they don't give you just enough time to deal enough damage, where you have to go through that entire stamina meter over and over and over again, while they're stuck in like this weird loop of like attacks where they're just attacking the area. Like, you could be far away and they're not pursuing you, and they're trying to do like these different flips randomly in the air, even though you have like a bunch of buddies and stuff. They're just attacking the air. They're not attacking any one specific thing. It just seems like the AI isn't really kind of like, configured right, or it's not programmed right just yet. Again, it's a beta. A lot of this stuff gets changed up for the final release, but the actual programming of the AI, the way that it fought, the way that it was kind of like targeting and pursuing other, like any of my allies or myself or any of its enemies, wasn't done right just yet. Now, the final point, or the final thing I want to bring up in this kind of like impressions video, is the online play. Granted, again, it's still a beta, and I have to keep saying that because sometimes people will take it to the heart and not realize, again, that it is still a beta. The online play is still not that great. The connections still have huge major issues. This could be, again, because it's a beta, because they're still kind of like figuring out the infrastructure for that game, connecting to the servers and stuff, and also, again, everybody's own internet here and there. There wasn't a lot of people when I was playing there. There was enough people that had access to the closed beta, like different influencers, different other websites and stuff that were playing Xenoverse 2. I feel like it's going to get a little bit worse, and it's going to get a little bit more hectic when it finally opens up to the general public, and that could speak volumes for when the game is finally released. Was it later on this year or into next year? However, during my experience when I was playing some of the parallel missions, I did notice some stuttering, not only in the frame rate, with the connections and stuff. I did notice some, some connection issues where we were fighting like certain enemies, me and like my partner that I went online with, or at least I got matched up with. We were attacking the same enemy, and like some of our attacks weren't matching up because one person would hit and would put the opponent in a state where the other person, like the partner that I had, wasn't able to land an attack on them because they were staggered, they were being hit by my combo and stuff. It got a little bit hectic like that, and it felt like, things were just kind of off. and they weren't, like, again, all the damage that we were trying to deal out wasn't registering for one reason or another. At the same time, I feel like the parallel missions are drawn out way too long, where we'll be fighting a certain character. I remember one mission I did against Nappa, and every time we would do a certain amount of damage to him, which didn't feel like a lot, to be honest with you, he would run to another area, and then we get stuck either fighting like a bunch of little small minions or some other random character that just shows up. And this would happen like 4 or 5 times, and we would go to different areas, sometimes coming back to the same area that we had just visited in order to deal a certain amount of damage only for them to run again. This happens for most of the parallel missions. Granted, the tougher ones are a little bit better because the enemies have more better probably programmed AI, they have better attack strength, they have larger health bars. There's a bunch of different things that come into play with that. But hopefully that stuff gets adjusted, and also again, the online infrastructure for the game itself, connecting to other players, because there's so many people connecting to the servers at one point, does get strengthened, does get figured out, and does kind of, get updated enough so that way on the final release of it, things could work smoothly, things could work really well. So overall, did I enjoy Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2? To be totally honest with you guys, I thought it was okay. I remember seeing this game back at E3 this past June, and I still said some of the same things that I mentioned beforehand, but I still think like they're still on the right track. There's still plenty of time to adjust some of the stuff that could be improved upon with this game, and hopefully this could be the definitive Dragon Ball Z games for fans of the entire series. Overall, guys, that's just my thoughts on the matter. Again, I really kind of enjoyed my experience with Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Leave me a comment down below in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about the actual beta, if you've played it or if you're anticipating being part of the open beta. Tell me what some of your favorite characters are from the Dragon Ball Z saga. Tell me some of your favorite other anime, some of your favorite special moves from the game. Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the Gamers with Gains channel for all my videos related to gaming, stronger living, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. And don't forget, guys, I'm streaming every single day on Twitch TV, playing a variety of different video games. I just played Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 for everybody live on stream. I had a great time with that. A lot of people were in the chat enjoying themselves, talking about the series and stuff. I'm going to be playing other games upcoming very, very soon. I'm getting a couple other games for review on the Koalition.com that I'll be able to stream at some point once the embargoes and all the NDA stuff lifts up. But I will talk to you guys again real soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.